Hey, what's up guys? In this video I want to talk about the difference between information, application, and transformation. You see, most of the time when we go through and we listen to something, we read a book, we go through a course, we're getting information. And that information can hold different interpretations around it. So why do we not apply it and why do we not see a transformation? Well, here's why. In our lives, every single word, information, contains a reaction that we have to it based upon our past perceptions. So if I am being taught and I'm like, hey, you were born rich, Bob Proctor, and he's like, yes, this is what you can do and this is who you really are. But in my life, my information had been contrary to that. I felt like I didn't have any money and I felt broke and I felt poor and I felt like things were a struggle. Yet this new information comes in and it says, hey, you were born rich. You can do anything you can set your mind to, or health or relationships, whatever it might be. That identity or that word contains a definition around it. So when I go and I say, hey, you were born rich, the word rich, let's say rich being information, and that represents information. So if I think, hey, I can be rich, but if my past, as I've been working toward becoming rich, has been a struggle, has been tough, has been failure, has been pain, then inside of that word rich, now rich can represent struggle, tough, failure, or pain to me. So when I read the information, I don't want to apply it because I've attempted it before and my body has literally become allergic to the idea of rich or the negative version of rich, which might be these things that I've experienced in my past. So that word that I am trying to go for, it becomes tainted by experience. And as I move forward towards my goal, if I don't acknowledge that, I will not apply the information. So if you find yourself not applying information you already know, this is one of the main reasons why. Is because some word that you're trying to apply or learn has a definition, an association that is not pleasant. And you don't want it to repeat because why would we just want more pain, right? We don't. So if I have thought, like when I first started to try to make $10,000 in a month, that represented it was really hard. It required me to sacrifice my family time. I couldn't play as much. It wasn't fun. It was rejection. It sucked. It felt impossible. So no matter what I did, it just seemed so hard. And the more I was like, hey, I want to make $10,000, it became less and less appealing because the information represented a lot of pain, struggle, and rejection. So then I just started to think, well, maybe I'll change my goal. Maybe I don't really need to make $10,000 a month. Maybe I don't really need to have everything that I want. Maybe I really wasn't born rich. Maybe that just isn't my lot in life. And I started to justify the information to avoid the pain. But the problem with that is if I do this, I don't apply and I don't transform. So as I go through this, it's very important to acknowledge the words that you're going toward, the goals and what they actually mean. And there's a whole process you can do called redefining definitions, which is basically taking the word, mapping out the negative association with it, mapping out the positive association of the ideal, and then taking on that belief using the abundance alignment technique or passion and repetition to take on the new form of that definition. Most people try to do it through repetition and passion, but if you'd like to speed things up, then I highly encourage you using the abundance alignment technique because that's what it's for. It takes the information and how your body responds to it. So it might not just be your mind, but it could be your heart, it could be your intestines, it could be your cells, it could be 100 and some odd things. It could be over 400, like the list that we go through on the full alignment's over 400 things. So there could be a lot of things that have these negative associations to it. And if you just try to think it, then you're missing out on a lot more of who you are, right? Which is why it's so important to see how your body responds to your goals, not just your mind or your thinking. Okay? Make sense? So information, you receiving new information, make sure the new information is redefined so that you don't either say, I know that already, or I've tried that and it didn't work. Okay? Next thing, when we go into application, so once we understand that information can be changed, the interpretation of information, now we have a desire to apply it. And when we apply information, so application, what does that mean? So it means if I hear something and I say, okay, Tyler, for you to go get clients, you need to package your story, put it into a 7-step system, and go talk to 30 people practicing this. Well, if any of those instructions from my information are linked to negative experiences, I'm going to avoid it like the plague. I'm going to say like, well, maybe I don't really want to talk to people because it represents pain and rejection. Maybe I'll do that later. And later becomes months and years turn into a lifetime. But if you can confront this and then say, okay, persistency is key here. Knowing that as you apply, and I have this information, and I go and I apply it, let's say I have an end goal, right, that I'm working toward. And then as I'm moving toward that goal, as I'm moving toward this goal, I'm going to find resistance towards the application. So I'm going to take a step forward, hit some resistance. And the resistance always comes back to this, the negative interpretation of the information. So I go forward, I see the resistance, I can align or redefine it and then align it, then move to the next level and the next level. And this allows me to apply or work on myself with progress. You see, many people go through these transformational processes without a purpose. But if you have a desire and you have a goal and you apply it strategically, now when you say, okay, I took a step, here's the resistance, here's the negative interpretations, changed it, next step, cool, I did it again, and boom. That's how you can condense a 30-year experience down into one or less. Now, when you apply information, the last powerful piece is transformation. Transformation is change. And when we go through life applying information and changing our interpretation of the information, transformation occurs. Think of a butterfly. When it is transforming, it becomes something completely different. From the cocoon, it starts as the caterpillar, and it starts as something that was based on past information. So that caterpillar continues to process, eat things, and grows and applies all of its necessities, and then eventually it experiences a transformation. And once you're transformed, you cannot go back. There is no regressing. There is no going back to who you used to be. This can be very scary for people. If they think they want transformation, but if I go and I say, hey, I really want to change, but then I know that my old self literally has to die. This information and to kill off my old self might represent pain or struggle or taking too long. So as I change that identity and say, actually, transformation is purification. It's amazing. It's enlightening. It's growing. It's exciting. Then I can get the information, apply it, and transform into the new identity. And when I become a new identity, then I can attain my goals with minimal effort. All the effort that it takes, the resistance, is because we're trying to attain something in our current state without becoming who we're meant to be. Okay? So, actionable from today. Set a goal. What is your focus? What are you working toward? Get clarity on that. Then map out, okay, do I have any negative associations, thoughts, feelings, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've felt, anything at all? Map all that out. Map out the ideal of what you'd ideally want it to mean and represent. And then take action. Apply it. How are you going? What's the action step you need to take? Take it. Take that action step. Then you'll see you have other goals to lead to this goal, the main goal. So then you can say, okay, Maybe if it's making $10,000 in a month, my first goal is to pick up the phone and talk to people, or get a product, or refine my service, or whatever it might be. So each of these has its own little micro goal with its micro information that has their interpretations. And as you go through and redefine this, if you've learned the alignment, or if you haven't, you can do the 10-day challenge or hop on a call and learn the full process. But as you go through this and align strategically, now you're moving forward in your life, and applying becomes a transformation. So now you are different. Your identity is different. You have changed. You become who you are meant to be. Cool? All right. So go apply. I'd love to hear your comments from those who are actually action takers. And drop a comment if you have any questions. And we'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, share this. Do whatever it takes for you to embrace the transformation, change the information, and apply it so that you can truly become who you want to be. We'll see you in the next video.